In 2021, I'm going on a mission to help you become Finvincible. That means financially invincible, by the way. It is a sad fact that here in the UK, more than a quarter of families don't have sufficient financial resilience to cope with a 25% fall in their household employment income for a period of just 3 months. The COVID pandemic has reminded us once more just how fragile our personal financial circumstances can be, with rising unemployment and many businesses forced to close unexpectedly. There are 7 Finvincible principles I'm going to share with you in this video. Tick off each of these 7 principles in 2021 and join me on your journey to becoming Finvincible. Hi everyone, I'm Martin Bamford, a chartered financial planner, personal finance YouTuber and money author. On this channel, I talk about personal finance, investing and happiness. I make these videos to help you become wealthier and happier. If that sounds like a great result, click on that little red subscribe button, become part of our subscriber community. It's completely free and you'll never miss an episode. With that said, what are the 7 Finvincible principles that I'll be explaining in this video? I'll run through the list in full first, and then we'll look at each of the 7 in a bit more detail. My Finvincible principles are: start with your why, widen the gap, automate what matters, spend on health and self-improvement, know your numbers, protect your weaknesses, and grow business wealth. Number 1 then, start with your why. Personal finance is just that, it's personal. The things that you want in life are unique and personal to you. There's no blueprint for an ideal life. There might be some common factors, things we all aspire to, stuff like good health, financial security often feature. What you want out of life is very much up to you, and until you know what you want, it's very hard to build an effective financial plan to support your goals. Let me be clear, financial planning isn't really about money. The money part comes along later. It's there to support your goals and the objectives that you've chosen. What is your meaningful purpose in life? The start of each year is a fantastic opportunity to think about this. Write it down. The clearer you can be when it comes to your goals, the stuff you want to achieve in life, the more likely it is you can develop a plan that will get you there. We rarely get to our desired destination by accident. Imagine the pilot of a plane taking off without knowing their intended destination. What course would they set? How much fuel would they need? Decide where you're going before you start thinking about how you're going to get there. Finvincible principle number 2 is to widen the gap. We build financial resilience by earning more than we spend, and by doing this consistently. There are only really 2 ways to widen your gap. You can spend less or you can earn more. Too many personal finance commentators focus on the money saving bit. And yes, this can make a meaningful difference to your gap, but there's so much more potential for widening the gap if you switch your attention to earning more. But do start with your budget. Look at everything you spend and determine whether that money is spent in serving your purpose. Go back to Finvincible principle number 1, start with your why. Is spending that money moving you closer towards your why or taking you further away? A seriously effective way of looking at the money we spend and the money we earn is to convert it from pounds and pence into days and years. Every pound you spend unnecessarily is a period of time further from your financial independence. You need to work longer to pay for that spending, but too few people make this direct link between spending and earning and time. We'll come back to this a little bit later in Finvincible principle number 5. With an effective budget in place, what about your earnings? How can you widen your gap by earning more? Your ability to earn more is likely to depend on your employment status. If you're employed, how do you achieve a pay rise this year? And if that's not an option, and I know it's not for everyone right now, how can you create additional income in 2021 through a part-time job or by starting your own business? And I'll come back to this in principle number 7 in just a moment. Finvincible principle number 3, automate what matters. Humans are flawed. We're emotional beings and we've got limits to so many important features, including our willpower. You would have heard before the notion of paying yourself first each month. When your income enters your bank account, that is the time to allocate to things like repaying debt, savings and investments. Don't wait until you get towards the end of the month and then see how much money, if any, is left available. So automate your debt repayments, your cash savings, and your investments at the start of each month. Take the effort out of the equation. If you don't need to think about this stuff, it is more likely to happen. And then you can cut your cloth accordingly, spending each month what's left over. Finvincible principle number 4 is to spend on your health and self-improvement. There are, broadly speaking, 4 elements to wealth. We hear all the time about money, about being rich, but that's only part of the equation. Along with riches usually comes status, something as humans we're all too keen to experience. But on the other side of the wealth coin, the 2 most valuable wealth components are freedom and health. Freedom is about being able to do the things you want and do it when you want and where you want. It is the ultimate goal of financial independence, to obtain freedom. And running alongside this wealth component is health, which we definitely have a tendency to overlook far too often. Without health, we can't enjoy our freedom. We can't enjoy our money. In fact, poor health is likely to cost you more money, especially later in life. Spending money on improving your health is a worthwhile investment at any stage in life. Getting regular exercise, eating healthy food, taking care of our mental health, these are all activities worth spending money on. Alongside this, don't be afraid to spend money on your self-development. It's an investment in you. Whether that's buying books to read, signing up for online courses, or paying for a coach, self-development is an area of spending money you should never deeply question. Finvincible principle number 5, know your numbers. How much do you actually need to become financially invincible? We've all got a number. All of the financial planning we do can be related back to that headline figure. But do you know what it is? There's an easy way of calculating this number. It's based on something called the 4% rule. You take your required annual income and you multiply it by 25. This works on the overly simplified assumption that most of us can maintain a 4% a year withdrawal from an investment portfolio without too much risk of running out of money during our lives. That's the easy way of calculating it, and it's better than nothing. But to become Finvincible, I want you to crunch your numbers more accurately. That means creating a lifetime cash flow forecast, understanding your target investment return numbers, and the impact of price inflation on your lifestyle, as well as getting to know your savings rate and how this translates into time rather than purely money. There's a huge amount to take into account when it comes to knowing your numbers, and I'll cover this in a great deal more detail in a future video. Finvincible principle number 6, protect your weaknesses. Getting into a financial position where you've paid off your debt and you're consistently saving and investing each month to build assets for the future, that is fantastic. It's far better than the alternative of experiencing more month than money, and also by funding your lifestyle with expensive debt. Or indeed the reality that so many experience of not having enough of a cash buffer to get through a month or more of lost income. But we don't want to be just slightly better than that. We want to become Finvincible, and that means recognising our weaknesses and then neutralising them. We've all got some common weaknesses that can massively derail our financial plans. That includes dying, contracting a critical illness, or losing our income due to accident or sickness. The first step for this Finvincible principle is to think about the catastrophes that could knock our financial position over, and then determine an order of priority for insurances that we need to put in place to neutralise the risk. Look, you wouldn't dream of driving your car down the road unless you had car insurance, yet so many people are comfortable waking up every day without life insurance in place, which would secure their family's financial future should they drop dead that day. I've worked in the world of financial planning for long enough to know 2 things about life insurance. Firstly, people don't like thinking about their mortality. We know deep down, don't we, that we're going to shuffle off this mortal coil at some point. It's a certainty. That doesn't make it nice to think about or indeed talk about. Secondly, life insurance is a product that is sold, not bought. What we mean by that is it usually takes a wake-up call to prompt someone to buy a life insurance policy. That wake-up call might be a friend or family member dying, or it might be meeting with a mortgage broker. But it takes something to spur us into action. Maybe this video will prompt that action. Last but not least, Finvincible principle number 7 is to grow your business wealth. There are plenty of ways to build wealth, but I'm convinced that this is the single most effective way of doing it, by building business wealth, and here's why. When you start a business, and for UK viewers, I'm talking about a limited company, so it's a separate legal entity, and you own shares in that business, you can do a couple of wonderful things. Firstly, you can offset a lot of expenses against tax. Assuming the money you spend is wholly and exclusively for business purposes, that spend is knocked off your profits when it comes to calculating corporation tax. In a similar vein, your business can make contributions to your pension pot without paying any tax on that money, and that's a seriously effective way to build wealth. Secondly, owning a business allows you to grow a truly passive source of income. What is going to start as a side hustle can evolve in time to become a lifestyle business, and then a way to leverage your time and money by hiring people to carry out the work for you. There are a couple of simple rules of thumb to keep in mind as you grow business wealth. One is the rule of thirds. Anyone you hire in a business should be paid approximately a third of the revenue for which they're responsible, another third going to business running costs, and then the other third representing profit. The other rule of thumb is the £100,000 rule, which is that every full-time equivalent employee in a business should represent £100,000 worth of annual turnover. Keep these two rules in mind as you hire people, and you will have a profitable business that helps you build wealth. This Finvincible principle of growing business wealth extends into the types of investments that you should consider, because it's important not to place all of your eggs in one basket, in this case, in your own business. Investing in companies which sell things, goods or services, and then share the profits with their shareholders is a seriously effective way to grow wealth over the longer term. With that wealth behind you, you can become Finvincible. A quick recap then on those 7 Finvincible principles. Number 1, start with your why. Make sure you've got a meaningful purpose, and then link your financial plan to achieve those goals. Number 2, widen the gap between income and expenditure. Spend less, earn more, preferably do both. Number 3, automate what matters. Pay yourself first at the start of each month by automating debt repayment, cash savings, and investments. Number 4, don't be afraid to spend money on your health and self-improvement. In both cases, these are investments in a better you. Number 5, know your numbers. It's fine to start with a simple rule of thumb, but it's worth investing some time and maybe professional advice in fine-tuning your numbers and also relating money to time. Number 6, protect your weaknesses. We're all at risk of being knocked off course by catastrophic events in life, and that's what insurance is there for. And number 7, grow business wealth. It's tax efficient, and it's the best way to leverage your finite time by hiring other people. That's my 7 Finvincible principles. I'll be delving into each of these in a lot more detail in future videos, so do press that little red subscribe button now to make sure that you get to see those videos each time they get published. Talk to me in the comments section. Which parts of the Finvincible principles would you like to know more about? You can find me on Twitter too, @MartinBamford, where I would love to hear your feedback. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, I'm Martin Bamford, and remember, when it comes to your money, the more you know, the faster it can grow.